All the hunters are preparing to hunt the steppe bison. A large group of animals is grazing on a hillside. Suddenly, the hunters rise to their feet, run toward the animals, and throw their spears, causing chaos among the bison. Panic-stricken, the bison stampede toward a cliff. However, 3 bison separate from the herd. One of them charges toward Keda, the son of Tao, hitting him forcefully and lifting him on its horns as it leaps off the cliff. Will Tao, the leader of the hunters, be able to save his son Keda? To find out, let's move on to the detailed explanation of the movie. At the start of the movie, we see a tribe of hunters crafting weapons for a hunt. Among them, Tao's son, Keda, and Kappa pass the skills test, qualifying them to join the hunt before the harsh winter arrives. That night, while lying in bed, Keda overhears his parents' conversation. His mother believes he isn't ready for the hunt because he makes decisions with his heart rather than his spear. However, Tao insists that Keda must prove himself, as he is destined to lead the tribe one day. The next morning, the hunting party bids farewell to their loved ones and receives blessings from the tribe's shaman before setting off. Keda's mother gives him an extra piece of fur to protect himself from the cold. The group follows the markers left by their elders toward a place where they expect to find an abundance of animals. Along the way, they encounter another hunting party led by Tao's old friend, Hughes, who recently lost his son during a hunt. The 2 leaders decide to join forces for the hunt. During the journey, Tao introduces Keda to Hughes, who remarks, "You're fortunate to have your son by your side for this hunt." Keda is determined to prove himself as a worthy future leader of the tribe during this journey. However, he struggles to light a fire and fails to kill a wild boar, leaving his father deeply concerned. One night, as the group sat around a fire eating, they suddenly heard a noise behind them. Instantly, they assumed defensive positions, but upon seeing nothing, they relaxed and returned to their meal, a grave mistake. Suddenly, a lion attacked the group, grabbing Kappa and dragging him away. The next day, they built a memorial of stones for Kappa's soul and performed rituals for his peace. Afterward, they resumed their hunt. After several days of travel, they found a large, secure cave to spend the night in. That evening, Tao carved a star map on Keda's arm, teaching him how to use it to navigate back home, just like the one Tao had on his hand. Eventually, after a long search, they discovered a herd of steppe bison. Using their spears, they drove the bison toward a cliff, forcing them to fall into the gorge. However, one bison turned on Keda, lifted him on its horns, and jumped off the cliff. Keda desperately tried to cling to the rocky edge as he fell but slipped and landed on a small ledge. His leg broke in the fall, and he passed out. Tao attempted to descend the cliff to save his son, but his companions stopped him, reasoning that it was too late and that Keda was already dead. The hunters began gathering the bison meat, while Tao sat on the cliff, mourning the loss of his son. The other hunting party collected their share of the meat and departed for home. The next day, Tao created a memorial for Keda on the mountain and reluctantly returned with the hunting group. Hours after the hunting party had left, a vulture descended upon Keda, ready to feast on him. As the bird pecked at his lips, the pain woke him. In a surge of reflex, Keda grabbed the vulture by its neck, swung it around, and threw it away. He then assessed his surroundings and, despite his broken leg, began crawling to find a way down. At one point, he hung precariously from a rock for a long time, enduring immense pain. Suddenly, heavy rain began to pour, causing water to accumulate below. Seizing the opportunity, Keda let go of the rock, plunging into the rising water. The fall rendered him unconscious, but the water saved his life. The next morning, Keda woke up to find the rain had stopped, and the floodwaters had receded. After drinking from a puddle and cleaning his injured leg, he climbed back up the cliff to its peak. There, he found a stone memorial left by his father. In frustration, Keda kicked it, feeling abandoned by the hunting party that presumed him dead and left him behind. Now, he had no choice but to find his way home on his own. Determined, Keda began his journey. Along the way, he ate insects he found and collected water in his pouch wherever possible. At night, he climbed trees to sleep safely, away from predators. One day, as Keda slept behind a large rock, a pack of wolves suddenly attacked him. He quickly climbed a tree to escape. The wolves tried to reach him, lunging and snapping at the tree. In self-defense, Keda stabbed one wolf with his spear, injuring it, while the rest fled in fear. The wounded wolf lay on the ground, unable to move. Keda prepared to sharpen his weapon to finish the wolf off, but found himself unable to kill it because of his kind heart. He decided to leave, but the wolf's painful cries stopped him. Unable to ignore its suffering, Keda tied its muzzle with rope and carried it to a nearby stream to clean its wounds. Suddenly, hyenas appeared, forcing Keda to carry the wolf into a nearby cave for shelter. There, they both rested for the night. The next morning, Keda found a mortar and pestle in the cave. Using different plants, he made a medicine for his broken leg and applied it. Meanwhile, the wolf managed to free itself from the rope. Seeing the wolf behaving calmly, Keda offered it water, which it drank like a domesticated animal. Delighted by this progress, Keda shared his food with the wolf, and they began eating insects together. However, realizing insects weren't sufficient, Keda hunted a rabbit, which he and the wolf shared. Gradually, a bond of trust and friendship formed between them. As winter approached rapidly, Keda knew he needed to find his way home before the snow arrived. Though the task seemed impossible, he had no other option. When Keda stepped out of the cave, the wolf followed him. Despite Keda's attempts to shoo it away, the wolf refused to leave his side. Eventually, Keda accepted the wolf as his companion on the journey. Together, they hunted small prey and navigated using the stars. Within a few days, they became skilled hunters and inseparable friends. The wolf even started sleeping beside Keda, demonstrating its trust in him. In return, Keda named the wolf Alpha, marking the beginning of a strong bond between them. Winter had fully set in, and heavy snowfall was making Keda's journey increasingly difficult. One day, a pack of wolves appeared. It was Alpha's family. Understanding the pain of being separated from one's family, Keda allowed Alpha to rejoin them. Now, Keda was alone again, facing the harsh winter, with every passing day more challenging than the last. Meanwhile, Tao returned to his village, where Keda's mother broke down in grief upon hearing of her son's presumed death. On the other hand, Keda found himself battling a fierce snowstorm. Suddenly, he saw Alpha's wolf pack ahead. Running toward them, he stepped onto thin ice, which broke under his weight. Falling into the freezing water, Keda lost all his supplies. Struggling desperately, he managed to surface, and Alpha pulled him out of the icy water. Reunited, the two resumed their journey together. That night, Keda huddled with Alpha to stay warm as they slept. The next day, after walking for miles, they came across a frozen man near a small hut. Sadly, the man had died from the cold. Searching the hut for food, Keda found nothing. Before leaving, he took the man's bow and arrows for hunting. Soon after, they were pursued by hyenas while a dangerous storm approached from the other side. Running as fast as they could, they finally found a cave for shelter. However, the cave was already occupied by a lion, which attacked them. Alpha leapt to defend Keda, engaging the lion in a fierce fight. Taking advantage of the distraction, Keda used the bow to kill the lion. Together, they managed to survive the attack. The next day, as they continued their journey, Keda came across a statue made by his ancestors, a sign that he was close to home. That night, he saw bright lights in the sky, a symbol that his ancestors' spirits were guiding him. However, Alpha had become extremely weak from hunger and cold, collapsing unconscious. Refusing to leave his companion behind, Keda carried Alpha in his arms, despite his own worsening condition. Keda, too, was now frail, coughing up blood as he walked. Eventually, he collapsed, unconscious. In his dreamlike state, he remembered his parents' conversation before the hunt. His father reassured his mother that Keda was stronger than he realized. These words sparked a newfound strength within him. Reviving his resolve, Keda picked up Alpha and continued toward home. Finally, he arrived at the village, shocking everyone who had assumed he was dead, especially his father, Tao, who was overcome with pride. Tao took Keda and Alpha into a tent, where Keda asked for care to be given to Alpha. The village shaman examined Alpha and realized she was female and pregnant. Shortly after, Alpha gave birth to 5 healthy pups. The tribe joyfully welcomed the pups as part of their family. 1 year later, the wolf pups had grown strong, and the hunters took them along on their hunts, marking the beginning of a lasting bond between humans and wolves.